All right, let's move on here to a game that is in my account. I couldn't believe it is the Atlanta Falcons and the New York Jets. This is 1.5 to 2 in favor of the Falcons on the road against the Jets. 33.5 is your total. Adam, when we take a look at this one, the Jets are going to be going with Tim Boyle yet again, which is why we are seeing one of these ridiculously low totals. And we know that it is Desmond Ridder for the Falcons, who in his return did not look spectacular, but at least they decided to ride Bijan Robinson, and that actually ended up working out for them. What do you say here as the Falcons is a 2-point favorite on the road?
This is tough, but I also have something in on this game, and I don't like it, but it is something that is not to be ignored with where the total is and where the side is. I have Jets plus 8.5 on teaser leg. I'm not in love with it, but I can't ignore the fact that it's a total of 33, and you're talking about getting 8.5 points, because who are the Atlanta Falcons beating by multiple scores? I know that they looked good last week in a game in which the Saints looked absolutely terrible, but a lot of that also had to do with the injury concerns of the Saints overall. I don't see where Desmond Ridder versus this Jets defense is a particularly strong matchup for Atlanta. I don't also see where an Atlanta defense that does have its strong points. They right now, the last 4 weeks, though, non-garbage time, they're a middle of the pack defense overall. So could this game be 17-10 Falcons? Could this game be 14-7 Falcons? Yeah, absolutely. I do not see how the Atlanta Falcons are beating anybody by multiple scores.
Steve and I put the -2 in the account on the Falcons. Tim Boyle is now that it doesn't look like, we don't have PJ Walker starting in the NFL anymore. I think Tim Boyle's the worst quarterback in the NFL. And so I'm going to just ride a team at less than a field goal against the worst quarterback in the NFL. I think the Falcons defense is at least middling. And with that, they'll be able to get a couple of short fields, and hopefully that'll be enough to cover a 2, in which a team with like the Jets, I think you and I are the only ones that just really tumbled the Jets in the power ratings. But like for me, I'm sick of holding on to this whole the Jets defense, the Jets defense, the Jets defense. It does not matter how good your defense is if you can't score 10 points in a game.
Is Sauce Gardner playing running back this week or wide receiver?
Yeah, like if you can't score 10 points, then I don't care. So I have them down low 20s, and I feel perfectly fine having them down low 20s in the power ratings this week. And if you look since week 8, kind of under the radar, yes, the Jets defense is still good, and they're very tough to pass against, but their run defense is split to 20th. And so if they really are going to ride Bijan Robinson, and that is a big leap of faith because we know Arthur Smith, who the hell knows what he's going to do. But if they really are going to ride Bijan Robinson, there actually might be a little bit of a path to success there as well. So I put the 2 in the account. I don't love it. I'm back in Desmond Ridder. Hopefully Desmond Ridder plays a very little role in this game, and I'm not sweating it a ton, but that's in the account. What about you?
Basically did the same thing as you, except in such a low total game, I decided to just take money line on the Falcons and not even deal with the 1 or 2 points, because things can get a little squirrely here when it's such a low total. I'll just take the money line and pay a little extra juice on the Falcons. And, everything Adam said is correct about the teaser leg. And I guess we find out if Tim Boyle is the one that lets the Falcons win by double-digit points. I don't know, but mathematically it makes a ton of sense. For me, I just was a little bit more comfortable just betting against Tim Boyle, because I don't know how many more weeks in the history of the NFL we're going to get a chance to bet against Tim Boyle, and I'm going for it, because the market told us he was worse than Zach Wilson significantly with that spread last week, and he showed us that he can only amount 4.7 yards per attempt and 2 more interceptions to go with his career 7%, close to 8% interception rate. So, and on the flip side, listen, I know when you bet the Falcons, you're trusting that Desmond Ridder just doesn't kill this for you against a good defense. He had 2 more interceptions last week, but for what it's worth, he was the number 8 quarterback by success rate last week in week 12. And to your point, Matt, Art Smith coming off the bye has given Bijan Robinson a lot more work here, and Drake London's gotten more targets too. Enough of the Jonnu Smith nonsense in this offense. So, yeah, I'm happy to just lay some extra juice and take Tim Boyle to lose a game this week.
Question here, and this is more for Steven on the price there. What was the price on the money line for Atlanta?
I paid it like earlier this week. It was like minus 145. You could get minus 130, I think, at this point. Yeah, last time I checked here, I think it's like minus 130 now.
Here's my thought process here. If I'm going to play Atlanta, I'm probably going to lay the 2 because in the end, the outcomes at 1 and 2 to me are not worth paying the extra in that situation. Frankly, if I'm going to play Atlanta, I might even run this out beyond a field goal. I might run this out to 5.5 or so because I don't see a situation where Atlanta's winning this game 6-3 or, something absolutely ridiculous like that. If you think Atlanta can move the ball against the Jets defense, to me, that's the whole handicap in the end. If you think Atlanta can move the ball enough that they're able to score, then you're confident Atlanta's going to win this game by outside of a field goal.
Ooh, I am not, but you might be. I am not. I've seen enough of Atlanta to not be confident that they can win.
Well, you know what side I'm actually on. You know what side I'm actually on here. So I'm just talking about the strategy side.
Like if we're talking about a 3-0 game, like I would be like, yeah, all right, 3-0 game. Like I mean, and I say that with only about 80% sarcasm. Like,
all right, so
like
let me ask you a question, Matt. Matt, you're talking about how the Jets can be had against the run. So the question I'm going to ask you is, what would your expected score here be for Atlanta? Well, just team total.
Well, the range of outcome,
20. I'll take 20.
Would be like the top end, like somewhere 17-20, 17-20, 14 is 13-14 is certainly within the realm of possibility.
Okay. I think if your confidence level is high enough that Atlanta is going to run the ball, run down the clock, get 14 to 17 points, you can feel comfortable that outside of a defensive score, you're probably winning this game by outside of 2 points. But, again, we've spent enough time talking about a game with a 33 total.
It's interesting, though. The deal is I think both angles are perfectly fine. Like, I would play your teaser, too, because I don't have confidence that they win by 9+. And then, but I do think that they win because I just don't think there's going to be enough scoring one way or the other. So it's pretty interesting that I kind of like both sides when it comes to all that.